Please before we start subscribe, like, comment, and turn on the notification bell to get notified when a new video is posted. The storm hit Naples like a fist through glass. Lina Moretti stood behind the hotel bar, watching rainwater race down the tall windows of the ballroom as lightning cracked the sky open. Her shift should have ended 2 hours ago. But tonight, the Grand Oceano Hotel had been bought out. One guest. One dinner. One man who demanded the entire building be emptied for his privacy. She dried the same wine glass for the third time, her fingers aching from the double shift. Across the room, young Marco, barely 17, was setting silverware with shaking hands. The kid was new. Scared. His mother worked in the laundry room downstairs. Lina caught his eye and nodded. He'd be fine. Then the doors opened. Alessandro De Luca walked in like he owned the air itself. Tall, sharp-jawed, dressed in black that cost more than Lina made in 6 months. His 2 assistants trailed behind him, silent as shadows. Everyone in Naples knew his name. Shipping empire. Political connections. A man who turned competitors into cautionary tales. He didn't look at Lina. Men like him never did. He sat at the head of the long table, phone already in his hand. Marco approached with a water pitcher, hands trembling just slightly. He poured. A single drop hit the tablecloth. Alessandro's eyes lifted. "Is this your first day?" Marco froze. "No, sir. I'm sorry, sir." "You're sorry?" Alessandro leaned back, voice quiet and cold. "Do you know what this dinner cost? What this room cost?" Lina's stomach tightened. She set the glass down. "It was 1 drop, sir," Marco whispered. 1 drop of incompetence." Alessandro gestured to his assistant. "Remove him." Lina's feet moved before her brain caught up. She crossed the ballroom in 6 strides, stopping beside Marco. Her voice came out calm, controlled. "His learning. I'll handle your service tonight." Alessandro's gaze slid to her for the first time. Dark eyes. Measuring. Dismissive. "I didn't ask for a replacement. I asked for an apology." From him. Lina kept her tone even. "No." The room went silent. Alessandro's assistant stepped forward, but he raised one hand. Stopped him cold. His attention fixed entirely on Lina now, and she felt the weight of it, like standing in front of a wolf that hadn't decided if you were prey. "Do you know who I am?" "I know exactly who you are, Mr. De Luca." "Then you know not to test my patience." Lina met his eyes without flinching. Something inside her, the part that had survived her father's death, the debt collectors, the endless nights, refused to bend. "Man, don't dare me," she said quietly. "You don't want the truth tonight." For 3 long seconds, nobody breathed. Then Alessandro smiled. It wasn't warm. "Stay," he said. "Send the boy home. You'll serve me tonight." Marco fled. The assistants exchanged glances. Lina stood her ground, heart pounding, knowing she'd just crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Alessandro De Luca didn't forget challenges. And Lina Moretti had just made herself unforgettable. The first course came and went in silence. Lina moved through the ballroom like a ghost, pouring wine, clearing plates, staying just outside Alessandro's line of sight. He worked through dinner, phone calls in clipped Italian, emails sent with brutal efficiency. A man who never stopped conquering. But she felt his attention shift to her between calls. Watching. Calculating. When she set down his espresso, he finally spoke. "What's your name?" "Lina Moretti." "And what makes you think you can speak to me that way, Lina Moretti?" She straightened, meeting his gaze. "Because someone should." His expression didn't change. Brave. Or stupid. Maybe both. Alessandro leaned back in his chair, studying her like a contract he was deciding whether to sign. "You said I don't want the truth tonight." "What truth?" Lina hesitated. This was the edge of the cliff. 1 step further and there was no coming back. "Your new port acquisition," she said quietly. "Porto Levante." His eyes sharpened. "What about it?" "It's going to collapse." Alessandro went very still. "Explain." Lina's pulse hammered in her ears. "The infrastructure reports are falsified. Safety violations buried under bribed inspections. The loading docks are unstable. When they fail, and they will, people will die. And your name will be on every headline. And how, Alessandro said softly, dangerously, would a waitress know this? My father was a dock engineer. Stefano Moretti. He tried to report it 6 months ago. Her voice cracked, just slightly. He died in an accident before anyone listened. The silence that followed felt like falling. Alessandro's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Read. His jaw tightened. He stood abruptly, buttoning his jacket. This dinner is over. Lina's stomach dropped. She'd gone too far. She'd be fired. Blacklisted. Destroyed. But Alessandro paused at the door, looking back at her with something unreadable in his expression. Don't leave Naples, Miss Moretti, he said. We're not finished. Then he was gone. And Lina stood alone in the empty ballroom, lightning flashing outside, wondering what she'd just set in motion. The summons came at dawn. A black car. A driver who wouldn't speak. Lina sat in the back seat as they wound up the coastal road toward the cliffs where only the wealthiest families built their estates. Her uniform still smelled like espresso and fear. The villa appeared through morning mist, white stone, glass walls, the sea crashing below. Beautiful and cold. Alessandro's assistant met her at the door. His waiting. She was led through halls filled with art worth more than her life, past staff who didn't make eye contact, into an office overlooking the Mediterranean. Alessandro stood at the window, phone pressed to his ear, speaking in rapid Sicilian. He gestured for her to sit. Lina remained standing. When he ended the call, he turned to face her. No smile this time. No games. You were right, he said flatly. Porto Levante has structural failures that were hidden from my acquisition team. I've halted operations pending investigation. Relief flooded through her. Then you'll fix it. Make it safe. I'll shut it down. Fire the contractors. Move operations elsewhere. What about the workers? Their families? Alessandro's expression hardened. Business, Miss Moretti. Not charity. Those people depend on. I didn't bring you here for a debate. He crossed to his desk, pulled out an envelope. Thick. Heavy. This is 200,000 euros. Compensation for your father's death. A confidentiality agreement. Sign it, take the money, and we never speak again. Lina stared at the envelope like it was a snake. You think you can buy my silence? I think I can buy anything I want. She stepped forward, pushing the envelope back across the desk. Then you don't understand what I want. Enlighten me. I want you to stop building empires on shortcuts. I want you to look at the people your decisions destroy. I want you to care about something other than winning. Alessandro laughed, sharp and humorless. You want to change me? You, a waitress with debts you'll never pay off. Yes. The word hung between them like a challenge. Alessandro studied her for a long moment, something shifting behind his eyes. Then he made a decision that would alter everything. 1 month, he said. You work for me as an operations consultant. You audit Porto Levante and any other projects you think are compromised. If you find nothing, you take the money and leave. If you find something, then you fix it. Then we discuss terms. He extended his hand. 1 month, Miss Moretti. Don't waste it. Lina shook his hand, feeling the strength in his grip, the danger in his smile. She'd just made a deal with a man who destroyed everyone who challenged him. And she'd never been more certain she was doing the right thing. The first week nearly broke her. Alessandro's empire was a maze of shell companies, international contracts, and deliberate complexity designed to hide accountability. Lina worked from a small office in his headquarters, surrounded by lawyers who resented her presence and executives who treated her like an annoying insect. But she had her father's notebooks. His documentation. His proof. She started with Porto Levante and found exactly what she expected: falsified safety reports, bribed inspectors, contractors using substandard materials. But she also found something worse. The chief operations officer, Marco Santini, had orchestrated the entire cover-up. And he reported directly to Alessandro. When she presented her findings, Alessandro called an emergency meeting. Santini arrived in a €1,000 suit, smiling like a shark. Mr. De Luca, this woman has no credentials. She's making accusations based on documented evidence, Lina interrupted, sliding the files across the table. Emails. Bank transfers. Inspection reports with your signature approving falsified data. Santini's smile never wavered. Speculation. Misinterpretation. Then explain the payment to Inspector Giuliani 2 days before he approved the docs. The room went silent. Alessandro leaned forward, eyes on Santini. Explain. Santini's composure cracked. This is a witch hunt. She's trying to destabilize. Explain. Now. For the first time, Lina saw fear in a powerful man's eyes. Santini stood abruptly. I've served this company for 12 years. I won't be interrogated by some waitress with a vendetta. Sit down, Alessandro said quietly. Santini didn't sit. He walked out. Alessandro's assistant moved to follow, but Alessandro raised a hand. Let him go. He turned to Lina, expression unreadable. You just made an enemy. I made you see the truth. Truth is expensive, Miss Moretti. So is ignoring it. Alessandro stood, buttoning his jacket. Santini controlled half my Mediterranean operations. Firing him will cost me alliances, contracts, political favors. It will weaken me. Lina met his eyes. Then be stronger without him. For a moment, something like respect flickered across Alessandro's face. 1 month, he said. You have 3 weeks left. Use them wisely. As he walked out, Lina realized she'd just declared war on the most dangerous man in Alessandro's inner circle. And Santini didn't lose quietly. The threat started small. A slashed tire on her car. Anonymous messages warning her to leave Naples. Then her apartment was broken into, nothing stolen, just her father's notebooks scattered across the floor like garbage. Lina reported none of it. She worked 16-hour days, digging deeper into Alessandro's empire. She found labor violations in his shipyards. Environmental disasters covered up in Greece. Wages stolen from dockworkers in Marseille. Each discovery she brought to Alessandro like a stone laid at his feet. And slowly, impossibly, he began to listen. Why do you care this much? He asked one night, late in the office, rain drumming against the windows. Lina looked up from her laptop, exhausted. Because my father did. Because someone has to. Your father's dead, Miss Moretti. His crusade died with him. No, she said quietly. It's just starting. Alessandro studied her across the desk, the harsh office lights casting shadows under his eyes. He looked different now, tired, uncertain. Human. You're going to destroy me, he said. It wasn't an accusation. Just a fact. I'm going to save you. From what? From becoming the kind of man who can't sleep at night. Alessandro's laugh was bitter. I haven't slept well in years. Then maybe it's time to change what keeps you awake. He stood, crossing to the window, looking out at the dark city below. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. What if I can't? What if this is who I am? Lina joined him at the window. Then I wasted a month. But I don't think I did. Their eyes met in the reflection. Something unspoken passed between them, not romance, not yet, but recognition. 2 people who refused to bend seeing each other clearly for the first time. 3 days left, Alessandro said. What's next? Lina pulled out her final file. The one that would end everything. Your board of directors, she said. They've been planning a hostile takeover. Santini's working with them. They're going to force you out and bury every investigation I started. Alessandro took the file, reading in silence. When he looked up, his expression was stone. They move in 48 hours. I know. If I fight them, I lose half my fortune. My reputation. Everything I've built. If you don't fight them, you lose yourself. Alessandro set the file down carefully. And what do you get out of this, Miss Moretti? What's your prize for destroying the empire? Lina smiled sadly. I get to look my father's memory in the eye. For a long moment, Alessandro said nothing. Then he made the choice that would define him. Call my lawyers, he said. We go to war tomorrow. The boardroom felt like a courtroom. 12 directors sat around the table, Santini at the far end, smiling his shark smile. Alessandro entered last, Lina at his side, and the temperature dropped 10 degrees. "Gentlemen," Alessandro began. "I understand you have concerns about the company's direction." The chairman, an old money aristocrat named Vittorio, leaned forward. "We have concerns about your judgment, Alessandro. Your crusade against established operations is costing us billions." "Correcting criminal negligence," Alessandro corrected. "Semantics. The board has voted. You're being removed as CEO, effective immediately." Lina's stomach dropped. They'd moved faster than expected. Alessandro didn't flinch. "On what grounds?" Santini spoke up, voice smooth. "Breach of fiduciary duty. Prioritizing personal vendettas over shareholder value. Specifically, allowing an unqualified consultant," his eyes slid to Lina, "to dismantle profitable operations based on emotional accusations." "Those accusations are documented facts," Lina said. "From a dead man's fantasy," Santini shot back. "Your father was a drunk, Miss Moretti. Everyone knew it." Lina went white. Alessandro's hand moved to her arm, steadying. "Careful," Alessandro said softly. Santini smiled. "The truth hurts, doesn't it? But the board doesn't make decisions based on feelings. We make them based on reality. And the reality is that Alessandro De Luca has become a liability." Vittorio slid papers across the table. "Sign. Walk away with your dignity. Or we force you out publicly. Your choice." The room waited. Alessandro picked up the papers, reading slowly. Lina's heart hammered. If he signed, Santini won. The cover-ups would continue. Her father's death would mean nothing. Then Alessandro set the papers down and looked directly at Santini. "No." Santini's smile faltered. "Excuse me. I'm not signing. And you're fired. Effective immediately." "You can't." "I can. And I have evidence you've been embezzling company funds, bribing government officials, and orchestrating safety violations that killed 17 workers in the last 3 years." Alessandro slid a folder across the table. Lina's investigation was very thorough. The board erupted. Vittorio stood, face red. "You're committing corporate suicide." "Maybe. But I'm doing it with a clear conscience." Alessandro turned to Lina. "Tell them." Lina stepped forward, voice steady despite her shaking hands. "Everything in that folder is documented. Bank records. Witness statements. Falsified reports. If this board forces Alessandro out, I'll take this evidence to every newspaper in Italy. The scandal won't just destroy Santini. It'll destroy all of you." Silence fell like a hammer. Santini's face had gone pale. "You're bluffing." "Try me," Lina said. And in that moment, she became the woman who'd warned a billionaire not to dare her. Vittorio sank back into his chair. "This is madness." "This is justice," Alessandro said. "Now vote. But know that if you side with Santini, you're siding with criminals." One by one, the directors changed their votes. Santini was escorted out by security, his empire crumbling with every step. When the room finally emptied, Alessandro and Lina stood alone. "We just burned everything," he said quietly. "No," Lina corrected. "We just cleared the ground to build something better." Alessandro looked at her, really looked at her, and something shifted in his expression. Not gratitude. Not admiration. Something deeper. "You changed my life, Miss Moretti. You let me." "What happens now?" Lina smiled. "Now you keep your promises." 6 months later, the Grand Oceano Hotel reopened under new ownership. Lina stood in the restored ballroom, watching guests arrive for the grand opening. The old hotel had been dying. Now it thrived. Staff paid fair wages, safety standards exceeding regulations, a reputation for integrity instead of desperation. Alessandro De Luca Enterprises had quietly purchased the property and transferred ownership to Lina Moretti. No press releases. No fanfare. Just a deed with her name on it. She'd cried for an hour when the lawyers told her. Now, as evening settled over Naples, she worked the floor, not as a waitress this time, but as the owner. Greeting guests. Checking details. making sure young Marco, now the assistant manager, had everything he needed. Then the doors opened. Alessandro walked in alone. No assistants. No bodyguards. Just a man in a simple dark suit, looking around the ballroom like he'd never seen it before. Lina crossed to him, heart in her throat. "Mr. De Luca. Welcome." "It's Alessandro now," he said. "I think we're past formalities." "Are we?" He smiled, a real smile this time, tired but genuine. "I wanted to see what you built." "What we built," she corrected. They stood in the center of the ballroom where she'd first challenged him, where everything had changed. Rain drummed against the windows, just like that first night. "My board thinks I'm insane," Alessandro said quietly. "Restructuring the entire company. Worker protections. Environmental audits. Transparency reports. I've lost 3 major contracts and 12 political allies. Regrets?" He met her eyes. "None." Lina felt something tighten in her chest. "Why did you do it? Really?" "Because you dared me to be better. And I'd spent my whole life surrounded by people who only dared me to be powerful." He paused. "You were the first person who saw the difference. And now? Now I'm trying to become the man you thought I could be." The space between them felt electric, loaded with everything unsaid. Lina knew that crossing this line would complicate everything. Business. Power. History. But she'd never been afraid of crossing lines. "Coffee?" she asked. "I'd like that." She led him to the bar, poured 2 espressos, and they sat in the quiet ballroom as rain fell outside and the world moved on without them. "I never thanked you," Alessandro said, "for not giving up on me. I never gave up on the man you could be. You just had to find him yourself." "And did I?" Lina studied him, this man who'd shed his empire to find his soul. This billionaire who'd chosen conscience over conquest. "Ask me again in a year," she said. Alessandro smiled. "I will." They sat in comfortable silence, 2 people who'd gone to war together and survived. Outside, Naples glittered in the rain. Inside, something new was beginning. When Alessandro finally stood to leave, he paused at the door. "Lina." She looked up. "Man, don't dare me," he quoted softly, a ghost of humor in his eyes. "Best warning I ever ignored." Lina smiled. "Told you. You shouldn't have dared me." "I'm grateful I did." Then he was gone, and Lina stood alone in her hotel, her victory, her father's legacy, her new beginning. But as she locked the doors for the night, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text message. "Your father's accident wasn't an accident. And the people who killed him think you know too much. Watch your back. A friend." Lina's blood ran cold. She stared at the message, her father's face flashing through her mind. The official report, accidental fall. Case closed. But what if it wasn't? What if exposing Santini had only revealed the surface? Her phone buzzed again. "They're coming for you next. Trust no one. Not even him." Thunder cracked outside. Lightning illuminated the empty ballroom. And Lina Moretti realized that her war had just begun. End. 27 minutes. The story ends on a cliffhanger with massive loose ends. Was her father murdered? Who sent the warning? Is Alessandro involved or in danger too? What conspiracy lies beneath the corruption she exposed?